Hello, thank you for joining me on the channel today. I'm Sean from Urban Tactical Survival, and today I got the two knives, my bushcraft knives that I would use and bring with me on any outing, any camping, stealth camping, or doing any bushcraft work in any campsite. It's the Schrade big boy I got here, which is the Schrade SCHF28, and I got the Mountain Lion from the PKS Pathfinder School. So I got a downed tree over here that we've had some storms come through last night from that hurricane that's coming up from the south, Hurricane Helena, I think her name is. So it came through last night, and for the last 2 days we just had nothing but rain. Every day, all day rain. And apparently last night it blew down a tree over here. So I'm just gonna go over there and process some of the wood and show you what this knife can do and how I use this knife in a bushcraft scenario, how this knife would work. Outside of having an axe, I would carry this knife with me, and this knife in your hand just screams chop. This is a fully capable knife in handling bushcraft tasks such as chopping down tree limbs or chopping down trees anywhere from 3 to 4 inches in diameter. I can get that tree down with this blade. I also can chop and process wood that's already down, and I'm going to show you with this blade and with this one. So just come with me over here to the tree, and we're going to go process some wood right quick. Okay, so as you see right here, I have a tree limb right here. It's about 2 or 3 inches in diameter. I'm gonna go ahead and chop that and cross that and put my smaller blade there. Put that on the side there. And here, chop this limb in half. It's about 3 inches. There you have it. That's one process there. There we go. So, give me another piece of wood here as a guide. Split this in half. Yep. So as you can see, that's about a 2-inch in diameter piece of wood there. I'm able to process, okay? So we've got that piece. I'm gonna chop down this piece even smaller. Chop this down, the smaller pieces. Scrape off the bark here. There you go. Processed wood, relatively easy. This wood is still somewhat wet from the storm. So there you go. I can split that relatively easy. Into smaller pieces and cut this into smaller, even smaller pieces. Okay. Got the smaller pieces in for kindling. Get us fire started here. Smaller pieces. And that right there. Smaller. Take this piece down to smaller pieces. Split that open. So as you can see, the Schrade SCHF28 is fully capable of the task at hand, which would be chopping down wood, splitting wood for kindling to get a fire going. I can still split this down even further, as I can show you here. Split that, and then split this even further. That even further down. Make this even smaller. Sometimes the blade, the wood, this is relatively still wet, so stick there. Now, get that split. So now I've got it down to relatively some small pieces here. Now, for any finer things like constructing feather sticks, or in some instances I have been to campsites with people and they've forgotten their tent poles. Not their tent poles, but their tent stakes. So they didn't have a way to stake out their tent when camping. So that's where a small bushcraft knife would come in. You can process this wood even smaller. Like so. You always want to do this away from your body. So you want to sharpen down the tip down to a point for a stake. Now the inside, the very inside of the wood is dry. So what you're dealing with on the outside is wet wood. So down in the center, you got dry, and it's easier to process into a steak. So you want to cut a notch up in the top, just a small one, and peel out carve out something that when you use it as a stake, the rope will catch up in here, and then you can drive this into the ground at an angle, and the rope wouldn't slip off because you got that little notch right there. And there's your homemade stake from a piece of processed wood out in the forest area. So you can slimline this like so. Okay, there's your steak. Process the top. You want to you don't want to have a flat head on the top surface there. You want it to be round, because when you start to hammer this down into the ground, the process of hammering into the ground could split the wood if it was a flat top. So you want to kind of just round it off at the top here. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. Put my eyes on. So you want to round this off on the top somewhat. A round surface on the top of it. Okay. So this wood right here in the center of this piece of wood here I had in my hand is relatively dry. So you want to round it off on the tip. So that's pretty round. So if I was to hammer this into the ground, okay, and in order to use this as a stake, I would hammer it into the ground on an angle, so backwards, and then my rope would come across it like this. So this being going towards the tent, and the rope, and I'd hammer that into the ground at an angle, and it would secure the tent guideline to the tent. You also, this is just for quick demonstration purposes, you also would want a longer piece. So this piece would be at least 8 inches long that I would use. So you want to hammer this down at least 3 or 4 inches into the ground on an angle with this chipped out piece here facing outward. So you just carve out a little notch right here, a nice little generous little notch. Be careful not to go all the way through. Just carve out a little piece, and on an angle you want to towards the tent or away from the tent at an angle, and then your rope, your guideline, would lock right into that little notch, just like that. And then you can secure your guideline to your tent. So also with a blade this small, you can use this to make feather sticks. And feather sticks are used to help with getting a fire started. And as you can see here, I'm just shaving down the wood, not going all the way down, just shaving it down, just enough to get a little feather, little curls on the end. It takes some time to master this process. You're not going to get it right off the bat. But just a quick show you right quickly what a feather stick would look like. You just want to shave this off, just like so. And that's what a feather stick would look like. It'd be a whole lot of more curls. So to master this process, like I said, it'll take some time. And you want to use dry wood. So this wood is perfectly for doing that. And you'd get that. Then you'd use this in getting a fire started. So this is what your feather sticks looks like. And you would use a knife like this, like the Mountaineer. The processed wood like this. Or with this knife, I could also do it with this, because right here, as you see here, has a little choil. I can get my finger down in and grip down in there, and I can use it to process. I'll show you that. Let me put this knife away. Okay. Grab another piece. And I'm gonna use this knife to make a feather stick, process some wood down. Just use the blade portion that's closest towards the handle, and you got this choil to grip onto with your front finger to help you guide the blade. And you just, as you can see, I'm able to relatively just peel off wood at will with this blade. Okay, so say I want to stop here and do some feather sticks. Okay, so you get the right angle. Once you get the right angle, you can get those curls going. Just like that. I'm getting some nice curls here with this wood. So, get up close. There's your curls, your feather sticks. Done with the SCHF28, better known as the Little Ricky. This is a powerful blade. So if you didn't have an axe, and this is the only blade you had with you, trust me, you'll get the job done at a campsite that you need done. So your feather sticks, or you can make tent stakes with the two. If you needed a tent stake, just chop that off. This is a short piece. I would need a long piece. Here's a nice long piece. Here's a nice piece for tent stake. This is not a process that's done very quickly. So takes some time, but time is all you have at a campsite. So enjoy it. Okay, go back and clean this up a little bit. Just take off a little bit at a time is all you need. There's no need to rush it. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. So right here on the tip here, on the butt end, is where I want to round it off at. So I'm going to round this off. Just like so. Like I said, it doesn't have to be pretty. You're at a campsite, and once you use it one time, you're gonna throw it away, maybe. Depends on how long you're gonna be at that campsite. If you're gonna move to another one, you might be or want to take them with you. But if it's an overnighter, I wouldn't worry about it. If you got a couple of nights you're gonna spend out there, or you're moving from one site to another, well, you might want to take it with you. Because I wouldn't want to do this over and over every time till I come to a next campsite. You may not find the wood in the next campsite that you have right here readily available to you. So once you get these done, depending on your situation, if you're moving from one site to another, okay, you want to clean this up a little bit. Okay. Okay, so here's your point. Concentrate on this. Get a nice point here on this end. To help facilitate getting it into the ground. And on the back end is where you want to put your notch. So you don't want to go all the way through the wood. A little bit at a time. You want to peel away a little section. At a time. Like so. Just rock the blade back and forth. It'll get down in there. It'll bite down into the wood. Then on an angle, you want to go down in there and peel off wood that you're gonna cut off. So just rock the knife back and forth. Like so. You know, cut off. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Okay, so this is my stake. It would be a little longer, like I said, but this is my stake. I'd drive it into the ground at an angle, and this tip away from your tent, and you got this rounded off section on the top here. So here you go. Knock that down into the ground. Take your guideline, put it right in there. Tighten your guideline, and your stake is in the ground, and then there's your guideline. So here's your makeshift stake. One of many camping skills that you can acquire over a time. So I've seen people leave their tent stakes and they don't know how they're gonna get their tent staked out. But here you go. You just find a nice little piece of wood, hard piece of wood, and make your own tent stake. There you go. And to prove I can get this in the ground, let's go right here. Right here. Use that. Here's my guideline. Boom. It's in the ground. Just like that. Used with the SCHF Schrade 28. And processed wood. With the Mountain Lion PKS blade. This is an excellent blade. This blade is my go-to blade at campsites. I would take this with me everywhere. And this blade with me as well. Because this does the job that an axe will do. I do have an axe, and I can take that with me and use it. But it's just in case if you don't have an axe. These are your two blades. So that's just a quick video on these two blades, processing wood. I want to thank you for joining me here today. This video was very informative to you and for you. Be sure to hit like and subscribe down below. It helps me out on the channel, keeps me motivated in doing these videos. I'll put down the descriptions of these blades down below so you can go and look them up yourself and process and get the blades if you want. But until the next time I see you in the next video, get out and enjoy the woods and the elements outside. Get outside and get dirty. That's what it's all about. Get dirty and enjoy the outdoors. Till the next time, peace out.